Well, protests have continued for a second day in the Sudanese capital of Khartoum following the military takeover on Monday. Bridges and shops are closed. Phones and the internet links have been severely disrupted. Human rights defender Duaa Tariq, who is co-founder and director of Colour Sudan, which is a group that works to promote civil and political rights, she's in the troubled Khartoum as we speak, and she joins us now on the line. Thanks so much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Yes, thank you for reaching out and covering. Sorry that we're having this trouble, struggling using internet and even regular phone calls for communication here due to the coup yesterday. So thank you for reaching out.
So what is the situation in Khartoum in particular today? Has the protests continued?
Yes, the protests continue. The streets are locked with barricades since yesterday. Until now, people are in the streets. We didn't go back home since yesterday, and we still continue. The city of Khartoum, and along with other cities in Sudan, are in civil disobedience, and the strikes will start on October 30. We're expecting a big march on October 30, and the start of the striking and organized civil disobedience after the press conference and the statements announced today by Al-Burhan.
Yesterday, the army fired shots at civilians, and we believe there were some fatalities. What's been the situation today? How have the authorities been trying to deal with the protests?
The authority keeps using violence. The army is everywhere, and now they started entering inside the neighborhood, chasing and attacking revolutionaries. There is a joint force of the army and RSF forces trying to remove the barricades from the streets by using gunshots. We already lost 6 people yesterday, and there is several people were shot today in different areas of Khartoum. So the army is taking over the bridges. You cannot cross to another city safely, especially the city of Omdurman and Bahri and Khartoum. They closing the bridges. They have their forces everywhere. They beating protesters, and recently, an hour ago, they started arresting protesters from the streets, beating them really hard and shaving heads, and along with other humiliating ways for protesters.
Do you know if there have been any fatalities today?
Yes, today 2 people were shot in Burri, and so far we know 2 people were arrested from Khartoum an hour ago by the RSF forces.
Do you know who is behind this? Yes, it's the army, but are there forces that are prompting the army to do this coup? Some people are suggesting that Bashir still has some influence.
Of course, Al-Burhan is coming from the Chief Security Committee already, and by him announcing the coup yesterday and the press conference of today, so we're 100% sure it's Al-Burhan orders. He said the army is acting this way because the protesters were chanting against the army for the last 7 days, and also the statement of the people of the civilian, some of the civilian government members were arrested. They were stating some stuff that dissing the army. So we're quite sure that it's the Burhan orders.
Are there civilians that wanted this coup d'etat that were perhaps unhappy with the transitional government?
There was some conflict between the civilian forces within the government, and we recently witnessed the birth of a new forces of freedom and change forces that alliance with the army. I think these are the people who gave al-Burhan the power to execute this coup. So yes, there were some conflicts between the civilian government, but that doesn't allow the army to do a coup or like to turn against the revolution.
What is the view and feeling of the majority of people in Sudan?
We're so angry, mad at al-Burhan. We're so terrified because the gunshots are everywhere. Tear gas is used like in massive quantities, and people are being attacked. It's really dangerous to be out in the streets, even though thousands of people are there, but we keep getting attacked from time to time. So it's really confusing and terrifying.
Is this feeling the same as the protests and the marches that led to the downfall of Omar al-Bashir?
It's exactly the same. It's kind of like after the sit-in breaking, the sit-in dismantled in 2019. It's the same, no internet, no communication. People are out in the streets, like gunshots. We cannot communicate. We've been disconnected since yesterday. So it's really difficult to organize and just find other people.
So are you hopeful that you'll be able to change circumstances in the same way that you did in 2019?
Yes, so far the preparations on the streets and the resistance will take the same form of al-Bashir times. It's the same way we took down al-Bashir. I think we're going to use the same tools and stuff to take down this dictator, because now it's difficult for us. Even it's more difficult because they already know our way, our tools, but we're trying to gather up, and then we're going to be on strike and civil disobedience until al-Burhan reversed this coup.
Was this coup a surprise to the people of Sudan, or were you always fearful that it could happen?
Yes, we've always, we just like we've been waiting for it. We've seen some signs, especially within the last week, because there was a sit-in made by people who want the Bashir back, people who want the army to take over and stuff. They've been allowed to have a sit-in right in front of the palace, guarded by the army and some of the rebel forces. So yes, we've seen that coming.
So what would you like neighboring states and the international community to do?
Would like the international community to give this issue a really good attention and to act upon the agreements we already signed and took part in after the revolution. We would not accept to be isolated from the international community anymore. Because we fought so hard for this, and being isolated is really difficult for any Sudanese, especially youth and women. And yeah.
Was there a problem with the transitional government, the interim government led by Prime Minister Hamdok?
There wasn't a certain problem. It's just this economic keeps falling down. The economic, which is understand. I mean, after coming out of 30 years, corrupted regime can lead such a traces by corrupted economic and stuff that really put a lot of pressure for the citizens to survive and stuff. But we understand this is the phase that we're gonna get through. I mean, the Prime Minister already was working on this, and things started to like show a little enhancement in the matter of economic. We just have to wait a little. But in terms of like freedoms, personal freedoms and changing in laws and stuff, we're going towards the right direction. It just takes some time. But the military want to use this economic fall down to like take over the revolution and dictate the state again.
But the people of Sudan will not allow this, I'm guessing.
No, we will not allow this, especially after this so many people we lost. And The revolution is entering its third year now, so we've been holding on for 3 years, and we will keep holding on until we get the full civilian rule.
Duaa Tariq, thank you so much for joining us. Please stay safe, and we pray for a peaceful resolution of the current situation in your country. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for covering. Thank you.